Okay, this is lesson 15 of the Elder Recorder Lessons Project, introducing three things: our high note B, some Irish music, and some thoughts about the traditional wood choices for recorders. I'm Ken Sribnick, and we're up to Unit 3 of Book 2 in the Sweet Pipes Recorder book for adults and older beginners. I realized after the last lesson that some things should be said again early on, as we're now in Book 2. Please understand that I'm not showing much more than the very start of each numbered exercise in our book, so as to preserve our publisher's copyright. We need these books to stay in print. Also, I'm going to remain very demanding of you, the student, to slow way down and work our drills and tunes till they are perfect, without any wrong notes, hesitations, mid-air fingering changes, or any other hiccups. That's a big demand. Again, here's a little list of the things to try for as you work on our exercises. I know that what I'm asking isn't easy. We need to imprint your brain with the rhythm patterns and other playing techniques, as well as the notes, in all the memory areas of your brain, like vision, sound, touch, and muscle memory, to absolute perfection, so that you gain instantaneous recognition and then correct playing when reading new music. Speed's going to take time and will come to you, but you begin here, slowly. And now, if you'll grab a pencil, let's circle the drills and melodies in your book that we'll be focusing on. Circle 37, 38, 39, and 40, as well as 41 and 43. Once again, we're trying to get you the most bang for your buck for the effort you're putting into learning to play the recorder. Before we start, I'd like to respond about and share some of my thoughts about wooden recorders. Maybe because they're so attractive, or perhaps because they're halfway affordable. At this point in these studies, players get an itch to buy a wooden recorder. It's natural. I do have to remind you that the sound of today's plastic instruments is terrific, and players are performing and recording on them. Some players and vendors call them resin instead of plastic, as if that makes a difference, but in fact they are ABS plastic of one formulation or another. The Xenon Bresson G1A Alto, with its individual insert finger holes, is the state of the art in my opinion, and better than a hell of a lot of wooden instruments. It's so expressive. If you buy one, just make sure you're getting it in the standard A equals 442 Hertz that matches our lessons. All that said, there are some opinions that I want to share about wooden recorders. First, don't buy a used one except from one of the mainstream early music shops whose reputation is on the line with every sale and provides a trial period. Promise me you'll never buy a wooden recorder on eBay or Amazon. eBay sellers generally don't know a thing about the instrument they're selling. Amazon sellers generally don't sell mid-priced wooden instruments and often don't know German fingering from Baroque. I've even seen German-fingered Yamahas for sale on Amazon without disclosing that they were in German fingering. I teach only the standard Baroque, also known as English fingering. It's the most common system around the planet and won't work on a German configured recorder. My opinion: sound samples and unboxing videos are unreliable in judging the sound and playability of an instrument. Recorders can be very individual, especially at the extremes of our high and low notes. I don't think you can hear the real difference between one wood species over another listening to just about any recording. I will spare you my lecture about electrical transducers on analog audio signals in recording. This is the Milky Way galaxy. The laws of physics prevail per Stephen Hawking and Albert Einstein. It is the quality of your microphone that you hear, the quality of your speaker or headphones that you hear, not the quality of the instrument. What I can tell you are my norms in choosing wood species for recorder. There's where cost is an issue. Maple and pear are fine. They have very nice voices. Otherwise, for playing in a group, many players like boxwood. The sound is complex, and players like the way boxwood seems to blend with other instruments. For solo playing, many players like blackwood, which is code for grenadilla. India has stopped exporting larger pieces of ebony due to overharvestation. In the blackwoods, the fundamental, the actual note you want, seems to play pure, meaning that just that note is heard without a lot of complex overtones, which are really harmonics. In the middle is rosewood, where the nut's off the screw as to exactly what rosewood is. There are lots of subspecies in the rosewood family. Many rosewoods have a slightly complex sound that still champions the fundamental while enhancing it with some degree of woodiness overtones. I own this rosewood tenor and I love it. I don't own an olive or tulip recorder, by the way, but I've noticed that their owners rave about them. I recently came across an article saying that tulip and olive are part of the Delbergia species, meaning all are some kind of rosewood. My latest personal instrument is a Dream Edition recorder in plumwood. That company also manufactures a look-alike instrument in pearwood, but I'm told that the windway in the plum instruments is different. I cannot tell you which I'm pleased with more, the windway or the plumwood. All I know is that the sound is mellow and a joy to my heart. I'm just very glad I spent the extra money for the Dream Edition as designed by the late and wonderful recorder designer Adriana Brukink. Otherwise, I'm mostly old school and mainstream. I'm a Merck Rottenberg player, but I started playing in the 60s. I've played some handmade instruments of very fine reputations, but haven't heard anything that I thought warranted the extra money. My best advice is that nothing beats an extended audition of an instrument in the quiet of your own home, and maybe asking the opinion of someone that loves you and loves your music. Just remember that all this is one person's opinion. There are many opinions out there. Your best decision purchasing a wooden recorder is to not rush. And remember that your first wood recorder is going to teach you about wooden recorders so that you can learn about yourself as a player and in order to buy your second wood recorder. Okay, let's get into our book. If you look at the header for Unit 3, you'll see high B is on the space above the first ledger line, above our staff. The thumb is half hold, And unlike low B, it often sounds best with the third finger of your right hand not closing its hole, the way it is in low B. I'm saying raise your ring finger. It sounds like this. Make sure you can match my note. Just below, drill 37 gives you practice playing high Bs with the notes immediately around it. Don't miss that the drill has a key signature. Getting you oriented, this is what the drill sounds like, but please remember, I demonstrate these way faster than whatever your personal speed is for attaining perfection. 37. "38" is in 3/4 time and starts with octave leaps in and around the high B. It then adds some good arpeggiations lower down on the staff. Here's how it sounds. Number 39 requires you to be careful reading and playing rhythms. The first two measures make you have to think before deciding how to play the third. It's a good little exercise in accurate reading. If you have trouble, you may have missed that you're counting in 3. It's in 6/8 time. It only has one B, but it's a very worthy exercise. And lastly is 40, where you'll see a straightforward up and down C scale followed by a C arpeggio. After you learn the notes, try to play it in one breath. Scales always smooth out your fingering and improve your speed. Again, keep these slow and perfect as you begin them. How'd you do in the last lesson sight reading the galote? Working on it and others on your own improves your skills immensely. Keep at it. Here's my playing it for comparison. We're looking for differences where you now may think you missed something printed in the music. Most often, if there's a difference, it's going to be rhythmic. For our next solo sight read, and with good melody, let's look at number 41, Playford's All in a Garden Green. It's a classic. Do you remember Parsons' Farewell in Lesson 6? Playford collected and published Garden Green as well, which, if played happily, captures the sound of that intense color green only seen in the spring. This is an easy tune for you to take on by yourself. If you get it down absolutely perfect, it will pick up its own pace and start to fill the room with happiness. At the same time, your reading skill is going to move up a notch. Again, this is a sight reading exercise. I don't demonstrate it for you, and I'll meet you here in the next lesson, and let's see how you do. It's my pleasure to introduce you to playing your first Irish tune on recorder. Irish music has exploded in popularity here in the States in the last 70 or so years, with traditional melodies sounding at home on just about any type of flute. I Will If I Can, number 43 in our book, is a purest, straightforward version of this melody without any ornaments. There have been so many different recordings of this tune, individualized by others using ornament and timing changes, that I thought we'd write in some changes here and there to make it a little more like Irish music is being played today. Let's start by numbering the first measure of each line. Please write a small number 6 at the start of line 2. An 11 at the start of line 3, and 15 at line 4. When music publishers anticipate us wanting to identify specific measures in a composition, they often number the first measure of each line, like this, to make our lives easier. Notice the tunes pattern in your book. Most measures have two groups of 3/8 notes barred together. We're in 6/8 time. Let's loosen it up a bit by dotting a few first notes on a bar and then making the needed time adjustment to the second note because of that dot. We're making the second note into a 16th note. We'll be doing that 9 times in this tune. Here we go. Stay with me. It's the only way I can communicate the change to you. Count across to measure 4. Dot the C and make the next note a 16th note by drawing a short second bar. Does it look good? It has to communicate. It doesn't have to be art. Let's do the same thing to the last measure of that line. Measure 5. Dot the first D this time and make the E right after, again, a 16th note. On the first measure of line 2, measure 6, let's dot the high C and add a bar to the G right after. In measure 7, dot the initial G and bar the A right after. And just before the repeat marks, in measure 9, dot the C and put the bar on the D right after. On the third line, second measure, that's measure 11, let's dot the first G and add the 16th note bar to the second G. At the end of that line is measure 14, where we'll dot that first D and add our bar to the following E. Are you with me? I hope so. In the last line, measure 16, the second measure of that last line, dot the G and then bar the following A. And in the very last measure, dot the first C. Now, have I got your attention? I want you to change the second C into a D. I usually X out the old note and draw in the new one somehow. Again, it has to be clear enough to communicate. I'm not Irish, but I think these changes are modest and make the tune sound far more contemporary with the way Irish music has come to be heard since our book was published. You may feel the need for speed to make it sound Irish, but if you take your time to slowly perfect it, again, I'm repeating myself all the time, with no errors or hesitations, the speed will come of its own from the repetition. This is a tune that's delightful to play over and over. Starting out, you don't have to rush it. And this tune is a dance called a jig, 6/8 time. So it's best to keep it at a speed that people can dance to. I'll play it for you. Ladies and gentlemen, let me introduce you to Thomas Morley, a Renaissance composer born in England in the mid-1500s and who lived in London at the same time as Shakespeare. In addition to his music, Morley wrote A Plain and Easy Introduction to Practical Music, which is online and still a wonderful read. He's known for writing fast, easy to sing vocal ballets, a musical form similar to madrigals. Our song, Now is the Month of Maying, is the melody for a ballet he wrote for 5 voices, published in 1595, and is one of his most famous works. It has regular rhythm, dance-like qualities, it's very singable, and like others of its type, it has a recurring fa-la-la-la-la-la-la kind of refrain. The original Middle English words don't read understandably in modern English, but in its time, this was a nasty little song with lots of sexual references, best not included here. Morley was just a wonderful composer. After you can play it fluidly, you should try to bring out the joking and playfulness in it. I'll try to play it so you hear the fun and teasing in it. If you feel joyous as you play, you'll convey that feeling. And it sounds to me like it went fa la 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 in the month of May. But I'm not sure. As usual, our opening music is our closing music that will now play as a duet. On page 40, take a look at number 172, Ductia. This anonymous piece and others like it date from medieval France in the 1200s and have no name. Ductia is a type of music with different instrument voices playing together. This piece is not religious and perhaps was danced to. They do have a close relative with the name called estampi. The difference being that ductia have no words and have greater regularity in their rhythms and phrasing, which you'll feel when you play it. I should tell you about the sound of this piece. It was written before the rules of what we call harmony were discovered and written down, meaning that the pitches of the two voices aren't connected in the European classical tradition that we're used to hearing, and which began later during the Renaissance. I'm saying the music sounds ancient. Be ready for that. I want you to play the bottom voice first, and then repeat it with your taking the upper voice, that way letting you end by playing the melody. Just because it's easily within your current abilities, don't fail to practice it till it's perfect. Again, playing some of these simpler works is where your speed will begin to develop. Before I leave you, remember that if you subscribe, you can receive notifications about new lessons. And as always, a thumbs up lets people know that I don't bite. Here we go. 1,000 years old, ductia. 1, 2.